What up? What up, everybody? Welcome to the Opps SportsCast. We are live on a Wednesday here in August 13th, 2025. We coming out with episode 28. We got a lot to bring to you today. I'm here with all the fellas, even though one of them is out of state, out of town, in his sister's house, way down at the ATL. What's up?
What up, man? What's
Yo,
going on?
yeah. Let's hey, we got one person in the chat already. That's what's up. What up, my man Jigs? Why don't the fellas introduce yourselves? It's the starting lineup. Why don't you start with you, Josh?
All right, I'm Josh from Eastside.
It's your boy Big Z.
What's up, everybody? It's Dave in the cut.
David.
Hey, we got the starting lineup in the building. We got a lot to bring to you today, guys. So I'm glad that you're joining us. We're going to be going over our NFC predictions as we get ready to move into a lot of people's favorite time of the year, the NFL season. Although my team is probably going to be trash this year, but we'll celebrate anyways. We get ready to move into the fantasy draft season as well. Hopefully later in the month, we'll be also breaking down maybe some of our favorite picks, maybe sleepers or what have you. But we're going to be telling you the final standings in the NFC and why we think that may be so. We're also going to be talking about the record breaking deal that the UFC got and the implications of that. And then we got just a bunch of stories in the roundup to kind of go over. If you guys have been paying attention to baseball, my man Dave Jones was live, I believe, for the first female ever to call a game from behind the plate. And so we'll be talking a little bit about that as well. And so, yeah, and we got some other sports stories that I think are kind of cooling off the wall that maybe you guys haven't heard of that we'll get into. But for starters, let's shout out our amazing sponsor of the podcast. And Dave, why don't you take it away from there?
All right, man, let's do it. We'll get that graphic up.
Yes, sir.
Got you. Good. All right, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for the month, Opposition Radio. Opposition Radio is your 24-hour internet radio station that specializes in Christian hip hop, EDM, R&B, reggae, and Latin music. You can check out all the amazing artists in rotation over at Opposition Radio by going to your internet browser and typing in the oppsradio.live. Opposition Radio, motivation to stand firm. Shout out to the brothers at Opposition Radio.
Big time.
Yeah. All right. And so we're going to keep you waiting on our NFL picks here in a second. The first topic we're actually going to get into is this. I think it's great news. As a fan of the UFC, um, I think this is great news. But we'll chop it up a little bit. The UFC this week signed a record breaking $7.7 billion deal with Paramount Plus. And some of us who have Paramount Plus are very excited about that because we'll get to watch some UFC content. Although I do believe it's their numbered fights. As far as their title fights, I believe they're still behind a paywall. You still got to pay per view it. And so, if you
Yeah,
want
how
to
does
catch
that
that,
work, man? How is that going to work? So somebody explain it to me.
uh, still pay for play. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know that they acquired the pay per view events. I think they just acquired their number series. So I'm not
Mm.
really sure how that works. But I mean, they got a really good match um, this week. I'm actually, looking forward to it. It sounds like it could be a really good matchup. I don't really know how to say the one dude's name, but I know it's Dricus Duplessis, who's just he's a beast. As he tore through that division, beating my boy, Adesanya, and then now he's going against the dude that he just looks unstoppable. Ishmael, I don't know how to say that last name, bro. But should be a good fight. Dude is always on point. But I think kind of the interesting thing about this is that it's a 7-year deal, guys, and so 7.7 million. That means that
Billion.
they're rate billion, right? They're raking in 1.1 billion dollars off of this TV rights deal, which is just insane when you understand how far Dana White and the UFC have come from. They literally, when you hear Dana White's story, he literally had to pay for essentially for Spike TV. If you guys remember Spike TV, to
Mm-hmm.
broadcast his show, he had to front all the production costs just to get the UFC on air. The whole UFC almost went bankrupt, and so it's an amazing story of an entrepreneur, and if you got the right visionary in charge, what you can accomplish. But going even above and beyond that, 1.1 billion a year. Listen, most UFC fighters make only, and I saw this, $10,000 to $20,000 per fight.
Hmm.
We've heard complaints on labor. Obviously, probably the biggest story over the last few years has been college, and now they have NIL, and they're allowing athletes to get paid. But most recently, it was obviously the WNBA, sporting their shirts and making a big scene about that. But on a scale of 1 to 5, guys, is it the UFC fighters that have the biggest case to make? Scale of 1 to 5
For more pay.
for more pay. Ten
Okay.
to $20,000 to get punched in the face. Do they got a case? 1, 2, 3. All right, Josh is at a 4. I'm at a 4. Okay, Dave is at a 4. Zeke's at a 1. Okay, man, getting punched in the face, man. That's tough business, man. uh, why don't we start this off with you, Dave? What do you think, brother?
Okay, so mixed martial arts has been around for a long time, man. It's come in many different flavors. I don't know the history of it. I'm not going to front like I do. You know, hand-to-hand combat is something that takes a special individual to do. Let alone boxing, kickboxing. Those are two different things. But then when you throw two guys in the ring, man, and um, they have make believe padding on their hands, nothing on their feet, and they're just going at it, and everything is allowed except eye gouging and kicking somebody to the head when they're down. Um, I don't think you could put a dollar amount on the amount of CTE that person is going to experience once they decide to retire. Man, you can't put a dollar amount on that. Um, Even though it's sanctioned and they do have certain rules. Um, the contact, man, the brutality of the UFC. I would be cautioned to say that it's a beautiful brutality because it's something that you can't turn away from. Um, just a little context um, on that brutality. I think this was in 2011. I got my mom to watch a UFC fight for the first time. And she's like, I don't want to watch that. These guys, they don't know when to stop. And I said, oh, Mom, I said, there's going to be a little blood and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. This particular night, man, I can't remember which main event it was, bro. This guy snapped this guy's arm, snapped it. You could see it snap, and it came through the skin. The first time I'm trying to get my mom to watch UFC.
This Mortal Kombat type stuff. You got to turn the blood setting off, bro.
Yo, it was crazy, man. And my wife was there, and I was like, "Yo, man, this is crazy. This is just how it is." But to bring it all back around, man, I don't think that. So listen, everybody says, okay, they know what they're getting into because they signed the contract. I get that. They signed contracts. They agreed to the money. However, there are bonuses and stuff like that. Fight of the night, knockout of the night, whatever. $10,000-$20,000 a fight for what they go through, the training camps, the weight cuts. Um, I don't think $10,000 to $20,000 a fight for the fighters that aren't at ranked level. I don't think that's enough money, and I absolutely believe that um, they have a case, and I think they have the strongest case. My only concern is that they all agree to it. And a lot of them they're kicking down the door to try to get in the UFC. So obviously they're with it. But if truth be told, I feel like I'm at a 4 because I'd be at a 5 if it was a situation where these guys were, their hands were tied. These men and these women, where their hands were tied, or they had some kind of force that had them locked in, where they, where they were being forced to do this, or they didn't have another option. But they do have other options, and nobody put a gun to their head to make them sign the contract. So that's why I'm at a 4. But I absolutely believe that they do have the biggest case for wanting more money.
All right. Zeke or Josh, who wants to go next?
I'll go.
All right, go ahead, brother.
Dave's reasoning for being at a 4 instead of a 5 is the reason I'm at a 1. Nobody's forcing these dudes and these women to get into a cage and participate in this brutal sport. Like it's long been known that the fight game is a brutal game. And again, like we did an episode earlier, like should power slap be a sport? Should we be allowing these people to do power slap? And I had the same argument back then. These are grown men, grown women. Nobody's holding a gun to their head. They want to get in there and stand in front of fists and feet all night. Okay, that's on you. You signed the contract. Nobody's saying you have to sign this contract or we're going to kill your kids or anything like that. You have an option. You can either sign it or not. If they really want to get serious about getting more money, maybe they should look into being unionizing and having some kind of structure like that. Um, I know we talked about um, Hulk Hogan, last week or a couple weeks ago. One of his biggest gripes against him was the wrestlers wanted to unionize back in the day, and he was one of the ones that was against it because it would have hurt his pockets or something like that. I don't know. But if they can come together as fighters and say, we're going to unionize and fight for everybody to get a little bit more money, and force Dana like, yo, either you pay us or we're out, then they can do that. But nobody's forcing them to do this. So they have options, and they chose to sign the contract and get in the ring and punch each other in the face and kick each other in the stomach. So the biggest gripe, no. The biggest case, I don't think so. No.
Okay. You think there's other sports leagues that have a bigger case? Because wouldn't you be able to say all sports leagues, like no one forces them to do that?
Well, absolutely, but why would it be UFC having the biggest gripe? Because of the violence that's involved? They chose the violence. So I don't think they have a bigger case than, say, the WNBA or college players who want money for institutions that are getting paid off of their labor. No, I don't think their case is bigger than anybody else's.
Yes, let me jump back in real quick. So the difference in the fight game, the difference with boxing and whatnot, when you see these guys come in the ring and they have these robes on and they got the shorts on, they can put whatever sponsorship they want on their garb when they're coming into the ring, right? Not UFC. And again, Zeke, to your point, they agreed to this, right? However, when the UFC restructured and they signed with Reebok, they locked all the sponsors out. They locked everybody out. And you had champions, man, like that were told, okay, yeah, you can't, nobody can put their sponsors on their shorts anymore. But what we'll do is, champions will wear gold. All of their garb will be gold, and then, when we sell your merch, you'll get a bigger percentage from the merch. Um, I don't think that the unranked folks, the people who aren't champions, I don't think they share that luxury. They do get a piece, but them not being able to put their own sponsors that they have relationships with outside of the ring, and they built outside of UFC. When they cut those sponsors off, that cut their additional revenue, that money that leveled off their yearly income. So again, nobody put a gun to their head and made them do it. However, the UFC is like, it's one of those things, man. It's Ringling Brothers. You got the Shriner Circus and then you got Ringling Brothers. It's like, who do you want to be down with? So it's that type of deal. Them taking their sponsors away so they could sign with Reebok, I thought that was weak. And I thought that, if you wanted to allow these people to have revenue streams, at least let them be able to, have that type of stream. Maybe allow them to wear robes into the ring and then take the robes off, the roads with their sponsors on it or whatever. But they were like, no, Reebok. They sold out to Reebok. Reebok signed the biggest check, and then here we are. So
Josh,
Yeah, I mean, just reading the question or the statement, UFC fighters have the biggest case for the most underpaid athletes in all sports. I would say yes, knowing that new UFC fighters are making on average, like you said, 15 to 30, 10 to 30 actually. But then I was doing a little bit of research as you guys were just chatting it up, and the average UFC fighter, right? So that means anyone that's not getting those big major deals is making like
right?
150K a year. So now you have to add in he's making 150K. Is that before or after all of his camp fees? Is that before or after all of his housing fees? Is that before or after all of the money that goes into preparing for a fight? And then I have to then question, all right, if you're on an undercard of a major fight and that fight itself on pay-per-view brings in tens of 20s of millions of dollars, like, you just made the UFC a whole lot of money to put on a show where, mind you, most people are waiting to see the main event, right? A lot of people don't like. But to be honest, in a lot of the fights that I've watched, both in boxing and UFC, some of the more entertaining fights have been on the undercards, especially in those lower level cards, because these are guys that are really trying to prove themselves and make themselves worthy of a
right.
spot to get a great contending fight. So for me, I think that they do have a leg to stand on, and they do have the best case, especially knowing this new deal just changed the UFC's profit just from ESPN alone from 550 mil to 1.1 billion dollars a year. Where's all that money going? You can't tell me it's just all going to the UFC business. Some of that's got to go down to these fighters to make it more um, make it look more attractive to come in and really put on these shows. So yes, I agree with Zeke 100%. They're the ones signing the contract, and they only have themselves to blame when they're not getting paid the amount that they want to be paid. Um, but
Yeah.
when you have a business that is holding on to funds like 1.1 bill and they're not investing back into the individuals that are literally going to be past, present, or future making them the money, that's kind of wild.
Fantastic take, Josh. No, I agree wholeheartedly with you. And matter of fact, I think that's part of it. Like, I think what you said was perfect. Like, 150,000, if that's what you're making in a year, I don't even think that covers your rehabilitation because you're a professional athlete, especially when your body takes that kind of pounding. You ain't got ice, you ain't got equipment, you're not going to recover the way that you need to. And hospital, break your nose, snap, you know what I mean, all this kind of stuff, you know what I mean, it's nasty things that happen when you get into a physical altercation. And so, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, they're putting their life on the line, and like, like what Zeke said, no one's forcing them to do it, but just the brutality of the sport, I would think, would lend itself to, like, greater risk should equal greater reward. I guess that's why I had it at a 4. Is that, like, okay, the risk reward is not lining up for the average fighter. Obviously, when you get to those upper echelons, you're seeing a lot more money. But we've seen guys where you see, like, the Jake Pauls in the boxing world, complete clown on even the champions of their sport, where they're there like, you're not making anything compared to what Jake Paul makes on these title fights. So much so that you had, like, their big time. I forget what's that dude that from Africa that was their heavyweight champion and just bounced because he felt like he wasn't getting paid what he felt he could make. Doing his own events outside of the UFC's kind of brand and marketing. And so, like, you see these kind of fighters that
Ngannou.
have to, yeah, Francis Ngannou, where he was at the top of the game. He was ranked number one, and he was just there, like, you know what, I'm not making enough. And so, like, the folks like Jake Paul is there, like, yeah, Dana don't pay enough. And so now that they got this money, it's going to be interesting to see if they decide to break bread with these people, not just only on the top, which I think they should, even on the top levels. I think those guys deserve a little bit more, but also if that trickles down to some of the guys who are trying to make it to that level. But just the magnitude of that 7.7 billion, like that's a 7 year, right? In perspective, the NBA has an 11-year deal for $76 billion with Disney. So they're not quite there yet. Conversely, we were just talking about the WNBA signed 11 years, but they're only at 2.2 billion. And so it just, it kind of goes back and forth. But I'm sure there's a lot less people in the WNBA than I would say would be in, obviously the UFC. What I thought was interesting was also the PGA Tour. PGA Tour has a deal that extends all the way to 2030, and that's only 700 million annually for that time frame. UFC has passed in TV rights golf on TV, which is just incredible. When they, not within my lifetime, they literally needed to give their product away for free just to be able to get some of their events on TV. So it's an incredible story, I think, of a come up from where they've been, and so that's why I had it ranked at a 4.
So let me ask you this, PZ. Who do you think is more popular, the PGA or UFC?
I think the money talks. I think you have to at this point say that the UFC is providing a better television product than golf.
That's not what I asked you. I said, who do you think is more popular, PGA or UFC?
UFC.
I think it has to be demographic based. If you're talking about people probably my age, I got to say UFC, bro. But if you're talking about, people 20, 30 years older than me, I would say probably golf. Um, but I got to say, I think most people I know, they like to play golf. They don't watch golf. They like to watch the UFC. So if you're asking me on that basis, UFC all day.
I'm gonna tell you where you're wrong. How many people do you see UFC in, and how many people do you see playing golf? Bro, I saw a 5-year-old carrying a golf bag today, bro.
Are
5-year-old
you
man.
talking about like who? What would
I
people
said,
rather
what do you think
play?
is? I said, which one do you think is more popular? I saw. I
To
was in the
watch
market.
or to play?
To watch or to play, right? I would agree with that question. I think that's a fair question to ask because golf is accessible to anybody. You go to the driving
Yeah,
range and pay $5 and hit some golf balls. You can't go to the UFC ring and fight a fighter.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
Absolutely, you can, bro.
That's
There's
that's not
there's
that's
UFC
not a.
organizations all over the place.
Bruh, people been fighting in backyards for years. Mixed martial arts isn't specifically for big arenas. You want to do mixed martial arts, you can Kimbo Slice started in backyards, knocking people eyeballs out. Y'all remember those videos
Of
on
course,
YouTube?
100%. But agreed. I'm not.
But
I'm not disagreeing with you. Yeah, I mean, people fight all day. You go anywhere, you find fights. You go to high school, you find a fight.
Nah, man.
You
I'm
go to
saying what I'm
workplaces, you
saying
find.
is they actually have
wait a
clubs.
minute, wait a
Like
minute.
even the
I just want to make
YMCA
sure.
offers
So
UFC. They offer
if that,
MMA training and all that kind of stuff.
All right,
bro,
let
if
me,
we're counting
Chris.
crime statistics
Yeah,
as far as hey, he's playing MMA, and we could count all crime statistics, yo, UFC is so much more popular,
for
bro.
sure.
Look at the crime statistics. Can I
Chris,
count that?
let me just put it this way. Look at Roman times. Before golf was probably even invented, what did
That's
they do?
correct, man.
What did they do?
Yeah,
They put people in arenas and had them fight.
gladiators.
That has been forever this thing. It for whatever reason, seeing two dudes beat each other on the golf course, yeah, fun. But seeing two dudes pound each other like literally to an inch of life, for whatever reason, this carnal man really loves that. I don't know why.
That's kind of a weird argument because historically fighting has been around since before the Bible days. I
Yes.
mean,
Agreed.
I
cavemen
mean,
That's
fought.
shoot, the
right.
first fight was Cain versus
Agreed.
Abel.
That's right.
Right.
Agreed. And that's why I would say
Bro,
it's
that's
more
right.
popular.
Animals fought, bro. You know what I'm
The
Yeah.
saying?
sport
So
of
what I'm saying
UFC
is,
is in the Bible, golf is not.
That's why I would say it's more popular because worldwide, I just don't see everybody saying golf is more fun to watch than two dudes going at it in a ring.
That's right. Hey, and not for nothing, but the women's game in the UFC is fantastic. Like, real talk, bro. Like, I'll watch Amanda Nunes fight. Like, I mean, at first I was dead set against it. It's just my Christian principles is still like, I don't know how I feel about this. But like after a while, you kind of get desensitized to it, and I'm like, yo, this is a quality fight, man. Like, it's a good product. Like, but so like I don't know, like it's our culture right now, man.
Yeah.
But
Not
what
right
does
now,
that say
forever.
about us? Maybe that's something we could have another podcast. What does like that say about our culture and the diminishing of values, if you want to put it like that? But bro, it's a good product, man. It's entertaining.
So let's do this real quick before we end this. So let's go to that jewel of knowledge that is called Gemini AI. Okay,
Oh boy.
all right. Look at Zeke. Zeke's uncomfortable already. All right, so check this out. Based on available data, golf is more popular than mixed martial arts, both in terms of global viewership and participation. Global popularity, while MMA's popularity has grown significantly, golf consistently ranks higher on lists of the world's most watched sports. Estimates for golf's global fan base are around 450 million people, while MMA is not typically listed among the top most popular sports globally. MMA is not even listed in the top 10 most popular sports globally, bro.
Now ask it if
That's
God of the
popularity wise.
Bible is the true
We're
God.
talking about there's 9 other sports that it could possibly beat out, and it didn't for the top to be in the top 10.
So I think we might be talking past each other because I think there's different aspects to this conversation. Are you talking about like these are the different aspects? Playing, like watching, and I would say those are the main ones. Playing, watching
When I talk about
is
popularity, it's like, hey,
and popularity probably be the third one. So like when we're talking about watching, to me it's I don't think it's that close. Not in America because the money would be there.
okay, here we go. This us four real quick. All right, who's the best golf player to ever live?
Tiger.
Probably Tiger.
Okay,
Everybody
who's
knows Tiger.
Unless you get some old head to come in and say Jack or Arnold.
right? But you know they're good though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who just won the Masters this year?
Rory.
Um,
Huh?
Rory.
Rory. So 2
bro,
out
if
of the
Zeke
4
didn't
know
know
it, right?
that, that would have been bad. Yeah.
Hold on a second. 2 out of the 4 know it, right? It's
Okay.
50%. Who's the current UFC light heavyweight champion?
John
Strick,
Jones. I don't know.
no, it's Drickus.
John Jones is the heavyweight champion, but he got
Drickus
stripped.
Duplessis.
He's gone. Yeah, he got stripped.
Francis is gone. We're
Yeah,
failing,
You
fellas.
said
We're
Duplessis.
failing.
it's Duplessis. And the heavyweight is the Brit that he did not want to fight. Tom Aspinall.
So 1 out of 4 do that.
So what I'm saying, bro, is like you guys don't really watch golf. Me and Zeke watch golf. So it's not really fair. But the point that I'm making, man, is that the popularity that I'm talking about is if we strike up a general conversation about UFC, how many people are gonna know? But
I I
if you
think you
mention
have to
Tiger Woods, or go ahead.
I think you have to rephrase the question though. Popularity or following? Like, I think maybe
How's
you
that
have.
different?
I think it's
No,
different based
It's
off of.
different.
It is different. I think
I think y'all just
popularity.
trying to move the goalpost to get the answer you want.
No,
right, man.
not at
Popularity is
all.
popularity, man.
Not
You
at
know what I'm
all.
saying?
Popularity is popularity,
Not
dude.
at all, because
Okay.
it depends on where you go. It depends on the crowd that you're talking to, right? If you go up to, uh,
Who's
uh,
who's more popular? Who's more popular, Shohei Ohtani or Aaron Judge?
Shohei.
I would say
Yeah, but
Aaron
that's
Judge if
that's
you're in New York.
nah, it's Shohei,
No,
bro.
man.
But
Moving the
No, man.
goalpost. Here we
Bro,
go.
it's Shohei.
let me bring my
It's
I bring my
Shohei, bro.
I'm just saying now I bring my kids into the picture, right? And I let them say My kids are going to tell you Aaron Judge. Like that's what they say.
That's because your kids live on the East Coast, and by the time Shohei's on TV, they're in
You're
bed.
arguing my
But
point.
you
See,
talk
it depends
about
on the
you talk
crowd.
about baseball fans, they're gonna say Shohei.
But let me ask you this question then, Dave. What do you think is the reason golf is not able to secure that kind of contract from a television uh, company?
You want to know the real reason why I feel that way, bro? If you look at the FedEx Cup, bro, if you look at the purses, then this is what we're talking about. This is what it
Ridiculous.
all comes back around to, and this is why I started this whole argument, man. I wanted us to get going on this thing, and to really, it's all about the money. Golf does not need TV money, bro. It's the stuff that sells itself. If golf is on, golf viewers, fans, they're gonna find it, bro. They're gonna find it. And here's the thing: where if it's a pay per view, they're gonna pay for it. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the UFC right now, the purses are paltry. You look at the purses for golf championships, just even like majors, the purses are ridiculous. The sponsorships are ridiculous, bro. You talking about I Jimmy Rollins, man. Jimmy Rollins was playing in an amateur game and he got a hole in one on a par three. It won a $300,000 boat. We're talking about a former baseball player, man. Well, who else is doing that?
Bro.
TV money didn't pay for that. Sponsorship paid for that, bro.
You ready?
But see, I would say this, bro, and then I'll let you go, Josh. Is that what you're talking about is two different things, brother? Because the people that play golf, they're they're not the people I grew up with, bro. Like the people I grew up with, we played basketball, we played football, we played baseball because
That
that
doesn't
was what
diminish
it.
the popularity of golf, man.
Bro,
Bro,
you're not hearing me though. You're not even letting me finish. It's because that's what was accessible to us. People didn't go play golf. That was country clubs, bro. And most people didn't have access or the money to be able to afford that. And
bro,
so
let me
that's
tell you
why.
something.
But that's why Tiger Woods was such a unicorn, is because no one saw anyone that looked like him playing the sport.
Let me tell you something, bro. If they made shooting poke cans with a BB gun out of a sport, I'm watching it because I love sports. Anything competitive, I'm watching it. So for me, like that argument doesn't work for me. It's like I grew up playing baseball.
So Tiger Woods wasn't a
my
unicorn.
whole family played basketball, man. I didn't play basketball. I played baseball. But you know what? I loved golf. I watched golf. I love sports, man. It doesn't matter where I come from or what I was exposed to by my family. It's like if I wanted to seek it out, I went and sought it out. I've watched what's the thing where the game where they bounce the ball and hit it. What's it called? Cricket.
Cricket.
Cricket,
Bro, I was watching cricket 2 o'clock in the morning, had no idea what was going on. And
bro. But what
by the time I knew
you're
it, I had
completely
watched
missing the point,
and
bro.
I had watched the
What's
whole thing. If it's intriguing, I'm going to watch it, bro. It doesn't matter if
throw
I
that up
know
on the
what's going
screen,
on or
Josh?
not. Say what?
but but bro, what is more culturally diverse? What sport is more culturally diverse?
Out of
It's the
which one?
UFC.
You're getting no
That
Out of
makes it
PGA.
more
golf.
popular.
You're not going to get any PGA golfers out of random parts of the world, but you're going to find a fighter. You're going to find a champion.
What are you talking about?
Absolutely,
PGA
Bro,
bro.
golfers
you
are
know how
coming
many
from all
thugs
over
I
the
know
world.
play golf? You know how many dudes from the hood I know play golf,
It's a
man?
Dude,
gentleman's
J.R.
sport.
J.R. Smith
Inner
went back
city
to
kids
school
playing
just so he
golf.
could play golf.
It's a
J.R. Smith.
competition, man.
Okay, okay. How many people look like J.R. Smith are that you could name on the PGA Tour right now?
They went to live.
What? They went to live.
Harold Varner III was one
So
of the
so
golfers
you're
who
saying
came up.
but bro, so many people play golf. So many people in the inner cities play golf. There's got to be at least a
We didn't
handful of
say inner
people.
city. We said most popular, dude. We didn't say
I
most
s-
popular in the hood. We said most popular.
I said that looks like the person you said,
I don't
J.R.
care
Smith.
what they look like. Golf is more popular than UFC, dude.
Right.
Bro,
That's
who looks
just
like
it,
J.R.
man.
Smith on the tour? Anyone that
I
looks
don't
like J.R. Smith on
care
the
who
tour?
looks like J.R. Smith. Golf is more
I rest
popular
my
than
case.
UFC.
I
That
rest
was
my
the question.
case. I rest my case.
Your
Oh,
case is stupid. Next topic. I got a headache. Damn.
Hold on a second, man. Hold on. Somebody said, uh,
No
no
intercept.
way, no inner city kid is playing golf.
Yep. And then they said
Dude,
handball,
they started
Bro,
the first
handball in
T
New York
Bro,
program
City.
to get, just
it's
like they
bro.
did with
it's
RBI,
facts.
they started the first T program to introduce more youth into golf. Tiger
Yo,
Woods wasn't the
I
first
wish,
black guy in golf. He was just the most recent and the most popular that they used at the time. He wasn't the first. He wasn't the unicorn. He was a unicorn in the fact that he took over and dominated the game, but he wasn't the first one. He was just the one at the time. They said, you know what, let's introduce this. You talk about people you grew up with. I started playing golf because of Tiger Woods. You got me, you got Kurt, you got Dave Vargas. We all out there playing
Sure.
golf.
yo, you got Buddha Blessings out there, man. You got Jammers out there.
I
Big,
know, but
big Kurt
again, like
Classic.
So I mean,
it's
the
like
the
These city
Tiger effect
kids,
is
man. These
bigger than
city
y'all
kids.
thinking. The first
These
T program
summer
is
thugs.
out there to introduce the inner city kids to golf. They're making it more accessible. It's not just reserved for the rich white dudes that live in the suburbs and got hedge funds. It's not as exclusive as it used to be.
Yeah, put that up, bro. Oh man. It's
Oh,
So,
facts, bro. It's facts.
I,
It's
I just
right.
facts.
I just feel like golf is definitely way more accessible to like what you would consider a controlled sport. UFC is a controlled sport. There's rules, there's regulations, right? But at the core of it, it's fighting. It's way more controlled because you can go out, grab a pair of clubs, you could swing it, whatever. You know, there's the U of R does like golf fundraisers leagues, right, where they're like people are paying $50 a pop and they're going to play. These are dudes that are literally saying, I'm going to drink beer on the golf course and get paid. Like they don't care so much about the game. They're there to socialize. You're not socializing when you're fighting. So I just, again, when you say popular, I think you have to consider some things about that. The following of golf, sure, you can argue that there's more fans, I guess, or followers of the game because they can physically go out and play anytime. You call off of work and hit the links for $25.
Yeah. And Alberto, makes a fantastic point. You know, soccer is accessible. All you need is a ball. So people in all countries play it. Basketball in America is very accessible. All you need is a ball, and there's hoops at every corner. Golf, hockey, sports like that, they're not accessible, and you don't see a lot of diversity in those sports as a result. But the fighting game is universal, bro. You see everyone from every corner. That's the last point, but we'll
yeah,
keep
that's
it
the last
moving.
point. And
Um,
I like how you put words in Alberto's mouth. He ain't say none of that, man. You paraphrasing on that on my man's comments, man. My man said soccer is the most watched and played, but hate watching it.
Yeah.
but it's the most
Facts.
watched and played for a
But
reason,
he didn't
man.
say
It's like
nothing about it
Worldwide.
being the most accessible, man. Stop
everybody.
putting words
It,
in that man's mouth.
listen, baseball has the same issue. You know what I mean? It's not as easily accessible as football and basketball is because you need a lot of equipment. Same thing with golf, bro. That's all we saying. You know what I mean? And so that's why you don't see the diversity that you do in these other sports.
Bro, this
But
is one of the best
Doesn't
arguments we've
affect
ever had in the
whatever.
history of this podcast. This
you know,
was
I love
phenomenal.
this.
I heard Zeke yelling. This is amazing, man. Oh my gosh.
It's got a headache though. Come on, let's go.
All right, let's move it on, man.
Hey, let's move on to the part you've all been waiting for. When we talk about, so you can find out here first. You heard it here first. Who's going to win the NFC's divisions? And so we all picked a division, and we're going to give you our take on who's going to win that division. Guys, let's actually get my man Josh. Football
Man,
is
this
he's got the logo in the background. Tell him
this ain't
who's
even
gonna win the
fair.
NFC
My man put
East.
graphics up and
This
everything,
ain't
man.
even fair, bruh. Come on, man. This ain't even fair. All right.
All right.
I'm gonna
So
make
what
this.
teams are in the NFC East for the audience, and who is taking home the prize?
All right. So on the top line under that big blue N right there in the NFL, you've got the four teams under the NFC East. You got the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Washington Commanders. This is an old logo here.
I saw the
Old
logo. Yeah.
logo, but the Washington Commanders here. I didn't catch that before. But so here we go. Um, I am
We don't get canceled.
I'm scoring this based solely off of statistics, solely off of preseason hype, solely off of data driven experience. No, don't get me wrong. I am biased. It's very clear I'm biased, but I'm going to give you a real true take here. All right. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the NFC East. And I believe here that the Washington Commanders take a major dive this year. And here's why.
Mm.
Here's why. Currently, Scary Terry McLaurin is seeking a contract. And right now, it does not look like he's anywhere near getting that deal signed. And if you look at the receiving core for the Commanders, they really need Terry McLaurin out there. He stretches the field out tremendously, and he causes defenses to have to consider him because of his speed, because of his catchability, because of his big playability. He causes defenses to need to. And if they get to a point where the season begins and Terry is not out there because of negotiations or even has some sort of hesitation because of how long it took him to get to the contract negotiations, I think that can hurt them if they don't get it off to a fast start, which I don't believe that they will. And also, too, you have Jaden Daniels at quarterback, and Jaden Daniels was impressive last year. I mean, he came in, and not only did he look like the quarterback that they thought that he would be, but he almost exceeded some of that. And the Commanders really didn't do much to help him on the offensive line this offseason. And furthermore, there's a lot of tape out on him now. And it's very normal for quarterbacks to come in and take a second year recession a bit because of that tape and because teams now have more time to game plan around the QB spot. So I truly believe that the Commanders are in a rough spot. And I think that they are going to take the lowest position here in the NFC East.
Wow.
Next, I have the New York Giants at number 3. And I have the New York Giants here because unfortunately New York has just had this history of difficulty. They really since losing Eli Manning, they have not had this franchise quarterback to come in and take control and take the helm, but they have made some pretty good signings with Russell Wilson, who's aged and is struggling, but I think that he can come in and give really solid play time. For them and train up Jackson Dart, who I think shows some really good glimmers of hope for the franchise and could possibly be that replacement for Eli Manning for the franchise. But they've done some pretty good moves in bringing in the oh my gosh, Abdul Carter. And also, they have some really good guys on the defensive line with Tib. What's his name? And also with Malik Neighbors at wide receiver. And I do believe that Brian Dable is one of the most underrated coaches in the league. He really did his thing in Buffalo. He came over. He got his first year under the New York Giants organization. He got Coach of the Year, right? And that was with guys like Danny Dimes at the helm and some subpar players. And so I really think that this mixture of having some more solid play and also having Brian Dable being able to coach up these players, I really see them taking a bit of a next step in their season playing time, and I really see New York being quite a bit better than what they were in the past years. Um, at third place, I'm going to tell you right now, or at second place, sorry, I'm going to tell you now, it is the Dallas Cowboys. Their biggest question right now is Micah Parsons, and if a deal will get signed come to the start of the season. It's very Dallas esque to wait until last minute to sign the big deal with the big player. Do I think that they're going to let Micah Parsons walk? No. Do I think that they burned some bridges there? Maybe. I do think that Micah is, if not this year and the next year, I think that he might be leaving the Dallas organization unless they truly bring the heat this year and surpass all doubters. You got Dak Prescott coming back from injury. Dak is a good QB, man. You cannot deny the ability there. And so I think that this is the year of revenge for Dak. I think that he's got something to prove. I think that if he doesn't show up this year, his job may also be in question and on the line. Um, and so knowing that Jerry Jones is not giving up control whatsoever, at least in the formidable future, I really don't know what it looks like for these two players. And they also have off-season pickups in George Pickens at wide receiver. So now you have this threat of George Pickens and CD Lamb, and both of these players are big-time players. They have great playability. They have great um, field awareness. They are monsters on the offense, and I truly believe that Dak being back there. Getting the ball out to these two players, they can possibly be one of the core 1-2 receiver duos in the league this year if they really mesh well. So I'm putting Dallas Cowboys at the number 2, and of course I've got I shouldn't say of course I have the Eagles
Nah,
at
you
number
just
1.
gave it away, man. You just, you
I
know what?
you can say what you want to say.
Your bias just melted through
My
the screen, man.
bias might have melted. You call it what it is, but I truly got the Eagles here at number 1, and I say it because I believe, just like all of the NFL writers are saying, the Eagles are just the most well put together roster in the NFL right now. They just have all of the check marks covered. They truly don't have a weakness, and coming from an Eagles fan, I see their weakness being the secondary on defense. In losing C.J. Gardner Johnson, and then also losing Darius Slay, there's some big numbers. There's some big plays to be picked up by the rookies, and I but I have a lot of faith in Quinion Mitchell. I have a lot of faith in the linebacker core. I have a lot of faith in the defensive line, and I truly don't see them taking any type of regression here. Um, Jalen Hurts is the man with the plan. He literally is composed. He is a winner. He gets out there and he gets the job done. And they still have A.J. Brown. They still have Devontae Smith. They still have Dallas Goedert. They still have Saquon Barkley. And they still have the greatest offensive line in the league right now. They were able to keep Lane Johnson on the squad, and he by far is the number one guard in the league. You ask anyone, go anywhere, they'll tell you. And the right side is where the protection is, and I see them excelling and at least taking over in a dominant force the NFC East once again. That's my take.
I don't think too many people would disagree with the Eagles ranked number 1. I think you're safe there, even though it's kind of a homer take there. But yeah, I think the crazy one was that Redskins, or excuse me, the Commanders take.
Commanders. Gotta
Commanders
get rid
take,
of
yeah.
that.
You got them dropping all the way to 4th place. That's wild. Well, you guys heard it here first. Commanders take a really big step back. I don't know. I'm a Jaden Daniels homer. I think the kid is amazing. But okay. I'll go next. I had the NFC West, and so I'm going to break down the teams and then give you where I think they're going to be at. but the NFC West comprises of the Arizona Cardinals, the LA Rams, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. But I'm going to start with, and I'll kind of give this away. I actually do want to start with the LA Rams because I think they're the cream of the crop there. And so it was kind of hard for me to pick which team was going to be number one in this division for this reason. I'm not a big believer in Stafford only because I don't like that the fact that he's entering age 37 and he's already complaining about back issues. Now we know that when Stafford could stay healthy, the guy is probably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But that's becoming increasingly a problem, I think, with all the hits. And then I think the Rams did their part to have a good, solid backup because they got Jimmy Garoppolo back there. So he's solid, but that guy only can give you a week or two before he'll be injured himself. And so it's gonna be tough for them to win this division for that reason. But I think you got to give it to the makeup of this team. Their only weakness, I think, was out of the tight end spot, and their first pick of the draft was a tight end, Terrence Ferguson. Second pick, they went with an edge rusher, and they did a phenomenal job drafting last year when they brought in Jared Verse. What I was upset because I thought the Colts should have drafted him, and they went with Latu instead of Jared Verse. And they brought in Braden Fiskell, who was a defensive tackle with 8.5 sacks last year, which I thought was incredible. To get that kind of bang out of your draft when the LA Rams were known for the screw the draft pick philosophy. They just traded everybody and said, "Hey, we're going for it every single year." And yet, with the draft picks that they have remaining, they managed to kind of resupply. Especially when you look at last year or the year before that, when they brought in the talents of Puka Nacua, who was still there. You got Kyron Williams, who's just a monster out of the backfield. Okay, they lost Cooper Kupp, but they bring in Devontae Adams. And so it's like Kupp was on his way down, and now all of a sudden you bring in Devontae, who some would say he was on his way down. I actually think it was more Aaron Rodgers just not being that great last year, and he was on his way down. But I think the LA Rams take it. I'm going to break down the Arizona Cardinals. They made some key additions themselves. They brought in Josh Sweat on the defensive end, and they heavily invested on the defensive side. Because if you guys have watched any kind of Arizona Cardinal games, it was for most part it was a joke. Now they actually managed to finish 8-9 last season, which if you guys know that I think was an accomplishment for that kind of team. But every time they lost, they would fight hard, coached up really well, get to the end, and their defense would absolutely blow it. And so this year, they invested heavily in the defense. Their first 5 draft picks, guys, defensive tackle, cornerback, edge, linebacker, cornerback. And so that's a team that kind of knows their deficiencies and that they're trying to address it. So if those kind of players can make the kind of impact that they're hoping and resemble at least a passable defense, I think they got the skill positions to make a little bit of noise here and maybe surprise a few people. With the dynamic tight end Trey McBride, which everybody's going to try to draft in fantasy, of course. And let's see if my boy Marvin Harrison Jr. call him my boy because his dad is a Colts legend. Let's say if he can make that sophomore leap because they need him to be better. Kyler Murray, he's not going to be able to be Superman, although he tries. I think he holds on the ball entirely too long, and I don't see that getting any better. James Conner is also getting older, so I think they may have some issues there because I don't really think they have the backs outside of James Conner to really make that kind of noise, but we'll see if they can kind of pull it together. So I got the Arizona Cardinals finishing second. And so who is left? Who's going to finish third in this division? The 49ers, if Jesus is watching, I know he's going to be mad at this, or the Seattle Seahawks. I got to give it to the Seattle Seahawks. I actually think the 49ers are finishing last in this division. And I'll get into the 49ers in a second, but the Seattle Seahawks, they added Cooper Kupp and they swapped quarterbacks. They went from Geno Smith to Sam Darnold, that quarterback. I think Mike McDonald is a fantastic coach. And so I do ultimately believe that they'll be able to put together a good season. Even though they lost DK, I think they'll be respectable and not just a complete walkover. But I don't think they're going to be good enough to make any kind of noise. And I don't really think they'll even be there at the end. I really do see this kind of as a rebuilding year. So I think that tells you a little bit about what I think about the 49ers, that I still have them finishing at least a little better than the 49ers. I'm not a big believer in Sam Darnold for this reason. Minnesota Vikings saw what he did last year, and they were comfortable letting that man walk out the front door. They were comfortable. And they were right last year with Kirk Cousins. He walked out the front door. He went to ATL, where my man David the Cut is at right now. And he played what, 5 games, and then maybe 6, 7, and then he got benched. And that was it for him. And he didn't look good in any of those games. And so they saw Darnold. I'm not impressed. Let's turn it over to the rookie. And they decided not to pay that man his money. And so I don't know. What Sam Darnold do we get this year? Do we get Minnesota Sam Darnold, or we get every other stop he's ever been at Sam Darnold? And I don't know. I think he's an overqualified backup, if you ask me. 49ers, guys, this blew me out of this is crazy to me. When I was doing my research on the 49ers, and obviously we know that the 49ers had an injury plagued 2024. I was looking at their depth chart. Do you know right now on their depth chart, they got over 20 players with an injury designation by their name. Over 20 players. And so it's like, bro, last year was a wash because of injuries. You going to try to make the case to me this year is going to be any better, bro? You can't keep nobody healthy. And you know who wasn't an injury designation? Over 20 players. Christian McCaffrey, CMC, was not one of those players with an injury designation. He wasn't one of them. But does anybody have a whole lot of confidence that he's going to be able to return to his former greatness? I don't. And they gave Purdy the bag this offseason. They gave that man 5 years, $265 million. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't think he's worth it, because I haven't seen him make those kind of plays that you need to as a quarterback without dynamic playmakers. He always has dynamic playmakers. And when they didn't have dynamic playmakers doing dynamic things last year, they were awful. Absolutely awful. When Christian McCaffrey couldn't do his thing and get down the field, when Debo Samuels looked like a shell of himself, they were awful. And what do they got to replace those guys? And so I don't really see them getting very far. Kittle is now age 31. Much respect. I think he probably is a future Hall of Famer. But how is Mike Shanahan going to salvage this? I don't even know how he salvages this. CMC on the back nine, and you're paying all these players tons of money, so your cap hit now. You can't make the additions. You have to let go of so many talented players from that defense, and you're not going to be able to replace them in the draft, not that quickly. And so I actually think the 49ers might be one of the worst teams, um, surprisingly, in the NFL this season. Probably one of the worst teams. And so those are my standings: LA Rams, Arizona Cardinals, Seattle Seahawks, and rounding it out, the San Francisco 49ers. Dave,
Oh man, y'all said a lot, man. I'm not about to. Let me just keep it real with you. All right. It's very simple. So I ended up having the NFC North. All right. And that would consist of the Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, and the Minnesota Vikings. All right. So let's kick it off. So last year, um, the team that walked out with the best record last year, as we know, was the Detroit Lions, and followed up by the Minnesota Vikings, and then the Green Bay Packers, and then the Chicago Bears. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna do like Josh did. I don't really know, Chris, if you went from worst to first. I
He
couldn't
went
really.
best to last.
You okay? I couldn't really tell, man. I'm gonna go from worst to first, and how I have them finishing out this year. All right, so I'm gonna start with the Chicago Bears. Excuse me. I hate doing this for only one reason, and that reason is Ryan Poles. Um, Ryan Poles happens to be the nephew of a friend of HCF, North Side and East Side, Pastor Ron Poles. That's Pastor Ron Poles' nephew. So I hate throwing Chicago in there last because Ryan is a good dude. He's got a good pedigree. Um, he's laid a good foundation from where he comes from. But unfortunately, he has a quarterback right now that's going to take them absolutely nowhere. I have zero faith in Caleb Williams. I don't think he has the heart. I don't think that he has the moxie to take the Chicago Bears anywhere. We saw how he tried to he tried to the big time C.J. Stroud last year when C.J. Stroud was trying to give him some advice, and I just don't think he's the dude. He's not taking Chicago anywhere. I got Chicago finishing 7-10 this year based on looking at who they're playing, and that's the record that I came up with for them. So I got Chicago Bears finishing dead last in this division. Next, we're going to go to the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings let Sam Darnold walk. I don't know if Darnold is like in his in his what do they call it, the swan song part of his career, like he just found the fountain of youth or just actually learned how to play football. But I don't think that anybody who's banking on him doing what he did in Minnesota with his new team, I think y'all kidding yourselves. Um, so they got JJ McCarthy. Now JJ McCarthy, if I remember correctly, he was hurt all last year, right? They're
Yeah.
banking on JJ McCarthy coming in and being the savior. I don't see it. I got Minnesota Vikings going 9-8 based on their schedule, and I mean that's it is what it is. Next up, we got the Green Bay Packers. I got Green Bay Packers finishing second in this division, and me personally, I love Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love is a phenomenal uh, football player. He is, to me, he's prototypical. I think he does need some more weapons around him. Um, but at the end of the day, they're he's going to have to stay healthy and stay on the field for them, to really have any success. They went to the wild card last year, just wasn't good enough, and I have them. So last year they finished 11-6, I believe, and so this year I have them finishing with that same exact record. If Jordan Love cannot stay healthy, they're just going to be falling in love with the wild card every year. It's just that simple. And rounding out first place in the NFC North, I have the Detroit Lions. It goes without saying. Um, it's weird for me because Jared Goff seems to not be able to win the big one. But they were the NFC North champions last year, and I have faith in them this year um, of coming back and being a force to be reckoned with. I don't have them winning as many games this year as they did last year. Last year they went 15-2. This year I have them going 13-4. Um, that's it. That's all I got. No,
Okay.
no pretty bow to put on it.
Yeah. I think most people probably would agree with that. Detroit Lions, they look like the class, and they're getting their star Aiden Hutchinson back after he injured himself like midway through the season. So hopefully the kid can be as dynamic as he used to be.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Zeke, the NFC South, Falcons, Panthers, Saints, Buccaneers.
Yeah, so Dave kept his short and sweet. Mine gonna be shorter and sweeter. Um, the Saints are gonna finish DFL because they're the Saints. Um, the Panthers are gonna be third in that division because by default somebody has to be third. I think the other two teams are gonna be battling for top place. Um, I think I'm gonna go with the Falcons finishing second with the Bucks
Mm,
finishing at the top. the Bucks seem to have had a stranglehold on this division for the past few years. Um, the only thing that I would look at that might give the Falcons a little bit of an edge to maybe take over this division. Their biggest Achilles heel last year was sacking the quarterback. They had like 30 sacks last year. And they went out in the first round and drafted two quality edge rushers for that defense. So if those additions can um, help boost those sack numbers, I think that would help them out. That and the fact that when you look at strength of schedule, the Bucks have the 10th easiest schedule in the league, but you got the Falcons sit with the fourth easiest schedule. So some of those games where the Bucks might have a tough loss, but the Falcons squeak out a win. Some of those games can tip the balance toward the Falcons, but I'm going with the Buccaneers finishing at the top of the division with the Falcons second and the Panthers third and the Saints bringing up the rear.
I like that, Zeke.
Yeah. I think Penix has it in him to kind of take that next step. I saw him at Washington, and I was impressed personally. I thought the kid
He's
was
definitely
dynamic.
he's definitely gonna keep them in games. He's gonna give them a chance. Like I didn't mention that, but yeah, a full season of Michael Penix Jr. is only gonna do them a favor. And I mean, if he does falter, um, you got an angry, disgruntled Kirk Cousins who might have something to prove and might be trying to audition for another team. I don't know how that'll work. He might give you old man Flacco energy and come out and win some games that you don't expect him to win. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to contend, but I'm not ready to give them the crown just yet.
That's an interesting question, fellas. Do you think Kirk Cousins stays on the Falcons all year, or do you think he might get traded? And if so, where?
Yeah, that big of a dollar bill, they're going to keep him on the team all
Yeah,
year, for
he's
sure.
not going nowhere.
And to be honest, I do think that Penix is the better um, player for the job, but unfortunately, dollar bill, y'all.
Yeah,
Let me throw out I'm going to call it a conspiracy, but a projection of what I think happens. I think Penix is the real deal. I think he kind of like shows himself as a legit NFL quarterback, and the Falcons feel well enough to say we don't really need Kirk Cousins as the backup, and they trade him, to the New York Jets because Justin Fields falls flat on his face. I think he's going to be a New York Jet before the end of this season.
I
Mm,
think they've had enough of old, washed up quarterbacks. They need
yeah.
No,
a
they
Rodgers
don't.
2.0.
No, I don't think the Jets, because the Jets are like probably one of the dumbest franchises ever. I don't think they learn from their mistakes. I think they go get Kirk Cousins, and he completely falls on his face with the Jets as well, of course. But I think that's what happens. I
You
think I think
I
Penix
swear,
runs
every
away
time
with
we
it.
talk football, you try to find a way to get your father to write you out of the will, man.
Mhm. Do you know who the backup QB in the Jets is right now?
Who's the
The
backup
backup
QB on the
QB?
Jets?
Tyrod Taylor.
And he's
Oh my
injured. That's
God,
right. And he's injured. They need a quarterback, bro.
they don't need one that badly.
I don't know.
They might be willing to take on that contract, or the Falcons might be willing to eat some of that
they're
contract
not taking on that
to
Yeah.
contract. I'm
I
telling
think
you
the
right now.
Jets
to
are
get rid of him.
the Jets have way too much young talent to stock up too much on that to load up on the front end there. And I think they're still paying Salah, aren't they?
Yeah, they're bro. You know it'd be hilarious if the Browns trade for him because they can't figure out their
No.
quarterback situation.
Uh,
Let's bring 7 quarterbacks in here.
All
8.
right,
Let's just
man. We have definitely gone off the rails, man. We have gone
All right.
way off the rails, bro.
Let me just
Well,
say
that was
real quick though, the Falcons. I just got to shout them out because I just watched a preseason game. I was actually able to watch one of their undrafted free agents play running back position Nate Carter, his name is, and he's actually a Rochester native. And I shared this with you guys in the chat, but his second run, it was either his first or second run on the field. He cuts through the line. He get that ball's handed off to him. He gets through the line, and one of their secondary players, the Detroit Lions, no, Morris, his name is. He went low for the tackle, and Nate's thigh connected with his helmet and snapped his neck back. Like he got
Mm.
bad whiplash. Thankfully, he's okay. But they stopped the game in the second quarter. Both teams decided, like, hey, listen, this is bigger than a game. You know, this dude could have very well died on the field. Let's call the game, and they did it in a fashion that I've never seen before. It got suspended. They basically sat there and let the clock run for
They snapped the ball and let the clock run.
exactly, and it ran for like a good 10, 12 minutes, and then I guess per New York, they have to suspend the game if the clock runs X amount of minutes without any real play. So it was big time. But what furthermore actually surprised me, but was beautiful to see is Nate. He led a prayer in the middle of the field with both teams, kind of holding hands, and it was just a beautiful thing to see and to watch. And Nate Carter, he holds a very close place in the Walker family, which is I'm married into the Walker family. He's the nephew of my wife's aunt. So I've watched this kid come up, from high school all the way into his college career and now to play in the NFL. It's pretty dope to see, and he's a firm believer, and it's beautiful to watch.
It's
Big
dope,
shout
man.
out.
What's up? All right, let's head into the weekly roundup.
We got one more thing to cover.
What was
Yeah, it's
that?
part of the roundup. We could throw that in.
Okay.
Let's start out. They can kick off with that.
No doubt. All right, so let's go right into this. Sorry, excuse me. Weekly roundup. Right down in that ticker, you'll see it. Weekly roundup. Mariano Rivera injury.
I
Go
don't even want
ahead,
to talk
Josh.
about
I
it.
can't see it on my end. Only you
So
can.
Mariano Rivera injures his Achilles in Old Timers game.
Do we have that footage?
I hope
Nah,
not.
man.
No, we don't.
You ain't put it.
No, we
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah,
It,
I downloaded the footage and then I was like, you know what? Why am I downloading footage of Yankee legend Mariano Rivera for this Mets fan to gloat over?
glow. Why would I glow over an
Because you
injury,
think
bro?
you
I'm not
slick,
that
man.
petty.
You think you slick, bro. You wanted me to download that footage so you get that, but I got you. You trying to pay me back for all the slights on the Mets. I see what you was trying to do, but I caught you. I
Ain't
caught you.
nobody worried about Mariano Rivera, bro.
I caught you.
I
You
feel
should
bad
be
for him.
worried. You should be worried about Mo. Want to know why? Because ain't no Met going to get in unanimously like Mo did. That's why you should be worried about Mo, man. Good luck.
Kamadi says Old Timers game.
Bro, he was playing center field. Like he was shagging fly balls.
Isn't
Like
Stupid.
that isn't that the second time he popped his Achilles in
Yes,
center
man.
field?
Nah, man.
Really?
He tore his MCL the other
Okay, it was the
time, man.
MCL last time.
Hmm.
Mo, stay out of the outfield, punk.
Poor guy.
Yo, bro. You know what's so
It's
funny, man?
crazy because I can't remember if it was last year or the year before in MLB The Show. They had a card series called Out of Position,
Yeah,
and they had a Mariano Rivera card with him being a center fielder
they did him dirty, man. I remember that,
because
man.
he was famous for shagging fly balls during
Yeah.
batting practice. So
He hasn't
yeah,
learned his lesson, bro. Yo, man, you know what took Derek Jeter so long to come back to Yankee Stadium, man, for any kind of besides the fact that he was working in the front office of the Marlins, but he said that his little girl was afraid to come back to Yankee Stadium, bro, because she said, I don't want to go to Yankee Stadium because I might break my leg, right? She knew her dad broke his leg, broke his ankle, but she said her leg. She was afraid to come to Yankee Stadium because she said she didn't want to break her leg.
What?
Now, you would think if a little girl that young, all right, could see what happened to her dad, right? even though it was a fluke thing. Her dad got hurt playing. Right? You would think Mariano Rivera would learn his lesson about the ghosts of Yankee Stadium, man, and stay out of the freaking outfield, man. What is this dude doing, man? Seriously, center field? Come on, man. Pack that up, man.
That's crazy.
It's
Josh, what's
wild,
next,
man.
bro?
All right, and
It's
in
wild.
other news, Pete Alonso, he sets the Mets franchise record for home runs, passing the great Darryl Strawberry.
Yeah.
Shout out to Daryl Strawberry. I grew up, a Daryl Strawberry fan, as I know a lot of Yankee fans did as well. But I think, for what it's worth, I think that's a huge accomplishment. I think it's crazy that Daryl Strawberry holds that record. He didn't even spend his whole career with that. But, um, Pete, if he can, man, if the Mets can re-sign him this offseason, I think he'll go down as one of the Mets greats. I mean, this guy has always been. I mean, since he first came into the league, hitting 50 home runs his very first rookie season. And it looks like he's going to have another good season total this year. He started off well. He's a streaky kind of player, but as a Mets fan, I got much respect for Pete Alonso, and I hope we're able to re-sign him this offseason. But congrats to him.
Yeah. Shout out to Darryl Strawberry, man. I love Straw, man. Straw would have been a 500 home run hitter, and he would have been 40-40 if he had stayed off the D-rugs. You know what I'm saying?
Yikes.
So, but
Yep.
But he's a pastor now, bro. I don't know if you guys follow him on IG, man. He's doing great things.
That's
He
awesome.
really
Yeah.
is. So God bless him, man.
Good stuff.
Good
All
stuff.
right, and then we got the Angels triple play, man. This made its way around social media. This clip, I didn't grab the clip unfortunately, but Dave's favorite player, Shohei Ohtani, he was involved, and we don't show no hate.
So since we're not showing the clip, I'll describe it, and then you can riff however you wanted to riff on this. But Shohei's up to the plate. He hits a line drive almost directly at, I think the shortstop ended up catching, although it was closer to the second base side. Two guys on base. Guy catches it, one out, steps on second almost immediately because the ball like almost took a flight path almost directly over the bag.
Yep.
And so those two outs before you could blink, almost as soon as the camera caught the play, there was two outs. Throws to first, triple play. Shohei puts his head down.
Mm-hmm.
Now you could riff from there, but just so that way the audience has a little context, the man comes up in his next at bat and hits the game, the go
You
ahead
had to go ahead
home
home.
run. Yeah, he hit the go ahead home run in the top of the ninth. You would think they would win that game. Of course, they didn't.
Right.
Dave, take it from there.
I mean, there's not much more to say, man. Shohei Ohtani just did something that no other MVP has ever done, bro. And it's like the man is amazing, bro. He just does it all. He just does it all, man.
And apparently, triple plays
He
is
does it all.
all.
Tyler
Dave?
Ward just took him deep in the game too, just to add insult to injury.
Okay. Yeah.
Yo,
Guy has-
the crazy part is the Angels are trying to sweep the Dodgers this year. Like they're 5-0 against the Dodgers, right?
Yep, I know, man. They're trying
They
to
win tonight. That's 6-0. That's crazy.
But shout out to Ohtani for hitting into the triple play. Has never been done by another MVP ever before in the history of the game. Shout out to Shohei. This dude, he just does it all, man. Even when he's wrong, he's right, bro. I don't get it, man. Shout out to Ohtani and him and his dog.
It's not like he did anything wrong other than hit a line drive, bro.
Well, on the
You
baseball
gotta-
field,
Hey,
we
you
didn't
gotta
get into the
line
off-field
drive.
drama yet.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, all right, Shohei.
He got a little drama going on right now. Him and his, I guess,
Yeah.
him and his agent or something like that. But they're not talking about that.
Well, they got a division to win, and the Padres, who I predicted, I think on the last podcast, to win it all. They just tied up for the division lead.
Listen,
So
man,
they're
I think we need to revisit. Our picks for.
We did that 2 weeks ago.
We did that, right? Who
Yeah.
changed? Who changed? Anybody change?
I had
I
to.
went to
what,
Red
from
Sox.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah, I
2.
think we're
Maybe
good.
it was last podcast or the podcast
Yeah,
before
we're
that.
good.
I'm hyped
But
about it though, man. I really am. 'Cause
Bro,
feel
I think I
it's
picked well.
shaping up, man. It's shaping. The
I
Yankees
think
suck.
Padres.
The Mets suck. I mean, what more could we ask for, right?
Go Phillies.
Yo,
Philly's
New
busting it
York
up, man.
teams are just basura, man. They just garbage.
Oh man.
All right, let's. What we got next?
What do we got? Celtics agree to sell for $6.1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a American pro sport record, which is
Zeke
incredible
said
because
like
like an
Zeke like
NBA team
man.
gets a record.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean they
You'd
are a
think,
team with the most franchise championships, right?
yeah, I was just thinking America would be an NFL team would have that record, and no NBA team would be able to touch it. So, kudos to the Celtics.
I got a question. How is that the record when the Lakers sold for 10 billion?
right. That's what I'm trying to figure out, man. Is it because their deal is finalized and the Lakers isn't? Like, I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense.
Maybe it's happening beforehand. Yeah, I don't know.
It says the Lakers were sold. It isn't happening. It happened.
Right, man. I don't know.
It says NBA approves Celtics sale at record 6.1 bill.
Whatever.
Hmm.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, does it come with a new knee for or a new Achilles for Jason Tatum?
The
Yeah,
record
you know
price
what? You're right, and we might be saying some bad information here because the Lakers did sell for 10 billion, but
valuation though. I wonder if that's that's the difference. Are
I
they
don't know,
are they
man.
evaluated at 10 bill? I don't really know. But it's definitely 100%. They
oh, okay, because he's buying 51% ownership.
yeah, there you go.
So maybe like of the valuation, he's spending the most, perhaps,
Could be.
is what is what's happening.
For the
Because I know
Celtics,
the
you
Uh,
saying?
yeah for to
Yeah,
buy the Celtics, maybe he's spending the most because the Buses still have like Jeannie Buss is not like xed out of the franchise when it comes to the Lakers. She
yeah.
still has a minority share.
Yeah, so here's what it says right here. The NBA Board of Governors on Wednesday unanimously approved the sale of the Boston Celtics to a group led by private equity mogul Bill Chisholm. A deal that values the franchise at more than 6.1 billion, the largest ever for an American professional sports team.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cap.
Yeah. Seems like it, but whatever.
Whatever, man.
All right, well let's keep it moving then.
Yeah. We got Ump Jen making history.
Yeah.
You
So
were at the game, Dave. You wanna lead the charge on this one?
yeah, man. So it was nice. So I'm in Atlanta right now visiting my sister in law, and you know, I was shocked. So she got us tickets to the game to go Sunday. We went to the game, and Zeke was the one that put me on it to the fact that Jim was going to be part of the umpire crew. She's going to be umping the first female to ump a game in MLB. So to my surprise, when we get there, she was behind the plate. And so they were showing her a lot of love on the scoreboard. It was the atmosphere was great. People were very receptive to her. I think this is a great thing, man. And I the only part that I don't like about it is that we're making so much fanfare about it because it's not the norm when it should just be a regular thing. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, she spent a lot of time working on her career, and I think mentioning her as the first female ump, while historically I think it's a great thing, I don't think that this should be a thing that I don't want to say don't think. I just think that us celebrating it is kind of sad because we should have had female umps coming up a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? It's like if they're able to do, and qualified to do the job, then bring them up to do the job. Like why has it taken it so long for this to happen? Um, it's a skill set, obviously, that we get on the umps a lot, so it's a skill set that's it's beautifully flawed in a lot of ways. Ironically, the first pitch of the game that was
Very first
thrown,
pitch.
very first pitch, was so far outside, and she called it a strike. So she started off exactly like her peers, so she fit right in by blowing calls. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not getting on her because she's a female, but she fit right in because it was so egregious, you know.
Yeah.
But the hype was in the air. Everybody was all excited. But you know, um, hopefully the first ball will go into the Hall of Fame, and we'll get to check it out and see all the memorabilia from the game. I thought it was a great moment. People at home couldn't see it, but they kept showing us fans in the stands with signs and stuff.
They
Showing
showed it. It was all over the broadcast.
was it on? Okay, but
Yeah,
the great thing about the game, man, is I got to see Matt Olson go deep. Um, I got to see Mike. I think Michael Harris went deep. They almost went back to back to back. I think there was a split, and they went two homers and then not a homer and then another homer. So I think it was I can't. Oh, it was Ozuna, wasn't it?
I was on. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Ozuna.
Who
Z,
ever since the trade deadline, he's been doing nothing but hitting home runs.
Yeah, man, he was.
Go
They
figure.
were killing it, and so
Z, what do you think about this, Z, on the umpire front? Because I think we're getting off topic a little bit. Talk about the game.
nah, man, we're not getting off top. We talking ball, man. And you cutting me
Man, y'all
off. What's
spent
going on with
25
you, man?
minutes talking
We
This
about the
dude just
fourth
this
place
dude just
teams in
spent
the
30
NFC
minutes talking
South.
about his football teams and he cutting people off, man. Cut me off at the
Whatever.
knees, yo.
bro,
You
you
Anyway,
just
talking
told me
about
to
the
leave.
game?
as far as
You talking
Jen
about
goes,
the
as far as Jen goes, I'm glad she was able to get this done. She actually she worked a doubleheader the day before. She was at first base for the first game and third base for the second game,
Oh,
and
okay.
then she was behind the plate for the Sunday game. My only disappointment, I wanted to see what would happen on like a very, very egregiously bad call. Like I want to see her ump a Yankee game and have Aaron Boone come charging out of the dugout and see if he
Right,
takes it easy on her or if
right.
he's just gonna go at her like he would Angel Hernandez. Because I mean I don't care what you got between your legs if you're wearing a uniform and you make a bad call, you should get barked on just like everybody else. So
The
that's
same.
what I'm looking forward to. I want to see the first argument. Somebody asked her
first
about that
time.
in the press conference, and she was like, "Oh, well, I've been argued at dozens of times, and it normally doesn't go well for the umpire or for the managers." And I'm like, "Well, if you yelling at double A managers, that's one thing, but it's totally different when you got an angry Aaron Boone coming out and drawing extra big bases around home plate because you called a ball that was 6 inches inside. Her strike zone was
It was
iffy. It was
wild, man.
consistent though. I think they appreciate the consistency. Like if that first ball that she called a strike that wasn't a strike at all, she was consistently calling that a strike. So over time, you get to know. All right, she's giving like 6 inches off the plate, which is ridiculous. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it is.
it was
But you're
consistent.
right. The
So
That's
consistency was there, and that's the norm. So she fit in with the other umps, man. So it's like, welcome to the league, Jen.
right.
Welcome
that's
to the
funny,
league.
Hopefully
Z.
she hopefully she stays up. I mean, she was in the minors for like 10 years. So
Yeah, that's
hopefully she gets
Oh,
another
ridiculous.
word?
chance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
she's
That's
I
been doing this
personally
for a
think she
while.
deserves to stay up, man.
yeah. That was my exact take, Z. Was that like I thought it was kind of funny that the very first pitch just happened to be way
Very
out of the
first
strike zone.
pitch.
But when you look at the results of the game, I was there like, but like I don't think real ball. People who play ball and know baseball, they know like as long as you're consistent, no one's gonna have a problem with that. So statistically, she was below average when they do those scorecards. She was actually below average for the day. But real ballers know, man. Like you
Yeah,
you
man,
appreciate an ump like that.
no doubt.
So
And one of the things that the broadcaster was saying was like they have like scouting reports for umps. That's her strike zone.
Yeah,
That's
that's
her
yeah,
strike
that's
zone.
exactly
So
it. You don't like
she
that? Go to
deserves it.
robo umps if you want it to be exactly robo umps, but nobody wants that. They want it to be like, all right, there's a different flavor
We
and
need
you got to
rubber
get to
umps.
know it.
We need
Part of the
rubber umps.
strategy of the game.
no
Go
doubt.
ahead, Josh. We got something else?
Yeah, last thing, we'll close it out with it happened today. We got a couple of them.
Oh, we're actually doing that.
Yes, sir. Here's your number
Yeah,
Thought
one,
we
Z.
were
bro.
thought we were
Sports
shutting it
history,
down. So
2016.
Dave, you want this one? That's your boy.
No, you go ahead, man.
All right. So Aaron Judge in his major league debut was part of a back-to-back home run tandem with some dude named Tyler Austin. I vaguely remember him, but he's no Aaron Judge. So yeah, they went back to back back in 2016. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's
Shout out to
awesome.
Tyler Austin. Good job. You made it to the majors. Um, yeah. So It happened today. Aaron Judge, first major league appearance with the Yankees, went deep, and he's still
Oh.
going deep.
Yes, sir.
And we got some Michael Phelps love. We gotta
Hmm.
diversify so y'all don't think this is a baseball podcast.
Yeah.
Um, so back in 2008, my bad, Michael Phelps won 3 gold medals. I mean, the dude, yeah, y'all know Michael Phelps. The dude is a
Woo.
beast. He's like a fish.
Yeah, man.
He was born to be in the water, but he won 3 gold medals all in record time. And then on the same day, 8 years later, he won his record 23rd gold medal. So August 13th was good for Michael Phelps in the Olympics.
No doubt. Shout
Good
out to Michael
stuff.
Phelps.
Phelpsy.
All
All
right,
right.
fellas.
And we got anything left, Josh?
No, sir. That was it.
All right. All right. So hope you guys appreciated the podcast. If we could get some clips of that interaction in the beginning, that was masterpiece. We were going at it. We had a lot of fun this week with you guys. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe on your way out. Share this with as many people as you can. We're trying to grow our subscriber base. And hey, tune in next week if you want to find out who's going to win the AFC. And I'm sure we'll have a lot more stories coming at you at
Chiefs.
that time as well. All right, Chiefs. Well, we'll see.
Yo, shout out to Peasy for holding it down, man. Great show.
Yes, sir.
Hey, appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
Hey,
man.
well, we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.